Today we are going to talk about the Israel and Palestine conflict that has been going on for many years now. As of now, there is intense war going on between them, but we are hoping that this conflict can be resolved and the two parties can come to an agreement. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a protracted and deeply entrenched dispute over territory, identity, and sovereignty in the Middle East. It is characterized by a long history of competing narratives, territorial disputes, and cycles of violence. To understand the roots of this conflict, we must trace its history back to the late 19th century. The roots of the Israel-Palestine conflict can be traced to the late 19th century when Palestine was under Ottoman rule. During this period, a nationalist movement known as Zionism emerged among Jewish communities in Europe. Zionism sought to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine, which held deep historical and religious significance for Jews. The Balfour Declaration of 1917, issued by the British government, expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. In 1920, the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate to govern Palestine. This period witnessed increased Jewish immigration to Palestine and growing tensions between Jewish immigrants and the Arab population, who opposed the Zionist project. As British control of Palestine became untenable, the United Nations proposed a partition plan in 1947 that would divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. The plan was accepted by the Jewish leadership but rejected by Arab leaders, leading to the outbreak of violence. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence or Nakba, catastrophe in Arabic, resulted in the establishment of the State of Israel on May 14, 1948. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs became refugees during this conflict, which continues to be a major point of contention in the conflict. Following the 1948 war, Israel expanded its territory beyond the boundaries proposed in the UN partition plan. The West Bank came under Jordanian control, while the Gaza Strip was administered by Egypt. The Palestinian refugee issue persisted, with many Palestinians living in refugee camps. The Six-Day War in 1967 marked a significant turning point in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Israel launched a preemptive strike against its Arab neighbors, capturing the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, and East Jerusalem. This brought a substantial Palestinian population under Israeli occupation, leading to further tensions and resistance. The Oslo Accords, signed in 1993 and 1995, represented a major attempt at peace. They led to the establishment of the Palestinian Authority, PA, and a framework for Palestinian self-rule in parts of the West Bank and Gaza. However, final status negotiations and the resolution of core issues, such as borders and the status of Jerusalem, remained elusive. The Second Intifada, a Palestinian uprising that began in 2000, was marked by widespread violence and terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. It severely strained the peace process and led to a significant Israeli military presence in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. In 2005, Israel unilaterally withdrew from the Gaza Strip, dismantling settlements and evacuating Jewish settlers. However, Israel maintained control of Gaza's borders, airspace, and coastline, leading to a blockade that continues to this day. The Israel-Palestine conflict has seen periodic eruptions of violence, most notably in the Gaza Strip. Operation Cast Lead, 2008 to 2009, Operation Pillar of Defense, 2012, and Operation Protective Edge, 2014, are examples of conflicts that have caused significant casualties and destruction. In 2020, the Israeli government announced plans to annex parts of the West Bank, drawing international condemnation. However, these plans were temporarily suspended under the Abraham Accords, a series of normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab states. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a deeply entrenched and multifaceted dispute with historical roots dating back over a century. It involves competing national narratives, territorial claims, and a long history of violence and displacement. Efforts at peace have been made, but the conflict remains unresolved, with significant challenges to overcome. Achieving a lasting and just solution to this conflict continues to be a pressing concern for the international community, and its resolution remains a complex and deeply challenging endeavor.